everybody. This is Laurie Handlers, and you are listening to another episode of Sex and Happiness, a show about your sex and your happiness. I always say this. I hope it gets better. I hope you get sexier. I hope you get happy. Now, I got a fan mail yesterday. I'm just going to say, I got a fan mail from Denmark from a woman who said she takes my shows to work with her every day, and she plays the podcast. And not only is she listening to the podcast, but she introduced the podcast to her father and her brother, and they're starting to listen too. And oh, my heart was soaring when I heard that. I know her personally, and I'm thrilled to know that she's introduced her family, especially the male members of her family, to this podcast. That's exciting for me. So keep it up, everybody. That's great. That's Lara. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Today we are going to talk. You're going to see me looking over a little bit because I'm having computer issues, everyone, and just deal with it. Today we're going to be talking about how can you can embrace all of who you are and be unapologetic about it. And that is a very important topic in today's day and age. And my guest today is Junie Moon, who I'm waving to. And I'm just going to read a little bit of her bio. Junie Moon, the love coach, teaches women in middle life how to magnetize their ideal partner and experience intimacy beyond their wildest dreams. She's an award-winning international speaker, best-selling author of Loving the Whole Package, and host of the podcast, Midlife Love Out Loud. That's exciting to me. I hope that's exciting to all of them. I don't know what my demographics are anymore, but because everything's changed. But Junie, welcome to Sex and Happiness.
I'm so happy to be here. It's just awesome. You're amazing. You're reaching so many people. I love that story that people are sharing it to people that are close to them. That's awesome. And I'm happy to share my message with your people today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, the first thing I usually ask people before we actually get to your subject matter is, how'd you get to be who you are? Like, I know for a fact my 7th grade guidance counselor did not say to my parents that I was going to be this. So how did you get to be coaching women in midlife to be magnetic?
Yeah, I think it's in the title about being unapologetic about who I am, because all I did was apologize my whole life, feeling like I wasn't good enough, walking on eggshells, being so scared of conflict, being so scared that I was going to fall short. And after many years of playing it small, being in a marriage that scared me, I wasn't able to really be myself. I ate a ton of food, was 200 pounds and miserable 16 years ago. I realized something had to change, and I wasn't finding it in books, and I wasn't finding it in personal growth workshops. Little bits here and there, but at the end of the day, what I discovered was there was this huge part inside of me that just really felt worthless. And I was scared to be me. And I saw it as a huge risk to be me. And the food was a symptom, though I thought that was the challenge I had. It was a symptom to something so much greater. And so I discovered a body of work called shadow work, which is what has changed my life. It's the work that I do with my clients now, to be able to see where we got these beliefs, where did we get these messages? Because what happened for me was my life changed. And I suddenly was like, you know what, there's absolutely nothing wrong with me. I've been fed a shit ton of lies. Oops, forgot to ask if I was allowed to.
I don't mind. You're on the internet. You can say anything.
Right.
Except on Facebook. You can't
Yeah, be careful. And maybe that's why the electricity went out today on me. Anyway, and so what I discovered was I really took on a lot of beliefs from our culture, from my parents, from everywhere, that had me believing that something was wrong with me. And so things shifted, and I'm still working it. I'm not going to say I'm on top of the mountaintop and I'm like completely healed, but I really live a life so differently. I have a partner that I can just relax and be myself with. And I really do my best to never abandon who I am or feel like anything's wrong with me. And if I do, I bounce right back, because it is such a waste of time and energy, and it does get in the way of intimacy and love. And that's why I help the women that I do, and some great guys every once in a while, to magnetize their best self at this stage of life, because this is ridiculous that we're playing small and there's so much life to be
Crazy.
had.
That's so good. Let me ask you a question. So how long did that take you? At what year in your life did you find shadow work?
Yeah, that was 2006. That was the wake up call. Yeah. So in 2006 was when I really, well, I mean, I had the wake up call that something really bad was going on when I was 200 pounds. But 2006 was when everything started to really shift for me and it anchored in. You know, it was like there was something that changed. Suddenly, instead of looking from the outside in, like how am I being perceived? How am I being judged? What's wrong with me? Suddenly the inside shifted and suddenly I just felt more whole, more integrated. And the work was phenomenal. And it wasn't overnight, though there were certain processes that were
Sure.
hugely shifting. It was, you know, over probably 2 or 3 years of doing some really deep work with my shadow and then just building on that and living into it, because we learn these tools and then we've got to take it out and try it on and integrate it.
Yeah. So one thing I want to go back to is when you say shadow work, I need you to define that a little bit because I've had people before on the show talk about shadow work, but
Yeah.
I want to hear what your definition of that is so that people can really, as they're listening, they can really get a feeling for, oh, this is what shadow work is. Well, if it was me, this is what my shadow would be. So
Yeah.
can you define that for us a little bit?
Yeah, thank you for asking that question, because it is kind of a word that we're hearing a lot. Oh, I'm working on my shadow and doing shadow work,
Yeah.
and people saying they're offering shadow work. I was trained in a very specific type of shadow work. The founder is Cliff Barry, and he was actually my trainer and actually gave me the blessing to write the book on shadow work. The Loving the Whole
Nice.
Package is about the tools. And so to talk about shadow work, we need to just quickly talk about what shadow is, which is the part of us that we've disowned, the part of you. So whoever is watching, listening, the part of you that you think something's wrong with and you try not to be. So, oh, I better not be an angry person, or I better not be a selfish person, or maybe I better not be a creative person. We take these qualities, parts of who we are, and we go, ooh, I better not be like that, because we've been hurt, because we've been shamed, because we were told that quality was not acceptable, or there would be pain if we were that way. And so shadow work is an opportunity to discover, what have we lost access to? What part have we shamed and denied and lost the energy of? And then special processes, uh, specially designed processes that I've been taught through in
Mhm.
this body of work to help people see not only what they lost access to, but to embody the new way, to actually shift it, rewire in the unconscious realm what we've picked up along the way, and be able to feel differently. And that's what changed. That's what transformed me, and what helps my clients is it's not just a heady thing. We are literally changing the neural pathways, the brain mapping, if you will, and we're
Sure.
taking back all of who we are.
So good. That's really, really good. So you were afraid to be too much. You were afraid to be outspoken. You were afraid to be, and like, was your wake up call like being overweight? I mean, like all of a sudden you looked in the mirror and you just went, okay, I can't live like this anymore.
Yes.
Like, what was
Yes, and
the aha? You're like,
yeah.
boom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that was the beginning. You know, that was
Yeah.
the, oh my God, I can't keep doing this. That was my rock bottom. And then it opened the doors to deeper healing, which led me to shadow work, which led me to, I do this. Why? I tell myself this. Why? I hold myself because of why. And then these special processes that help me, like I said, change. I will say there was this one moment when I realized the work was really kicking in, because my ex-husband, he's grown a lot, he's changed a lot, and I'll just say he had a lot of bully energy. Scared the shit out of me. I didn't want to come up against that. And I remember this one moment, and it was a horrible moment, where he was bullying my son, and my son was a lot shorter and a lot more vulnerable and going through his own stuff, and my husband was towering over him. And I was told by my husband, ex-husband, you don't interfere with my parenting, and you have your place, young lady, right? And of course I bought it and said, oh, I better be quiet, and I better, it was horrible. And so I'm seeing this dynamic, and I see my son just being demolished. And suddenly something inside of me, I was like, enough. I don't care what is happening. And I just stood right in between them, and I just looked him straight in the eye. I said, this needs to stop. We're stopping this right now. And I say I had my sword, I pulled my sword out and I stood my ground, but it wasn't like me screaming like I used to. Like I would just hit this point where I would just be like, out of control. It was not out of control anymore. I was in control of my anger. I was in control of that clarity of like, this is not okay. And I had that boundary and I set it. And that's when I knew that I was like, wow, this works. Not to mention that I've kept the weight off all these years, and I totally attribute it to the healing work. So there were actually many moments, and that was a very powerful one
that is so great. And your son must have been so appreciative too. I mean,
oh, that's another long story, but let's say I'm sure in the moment he appreciated it. Kids and their view of their parents.
yeah, I understand. I understand.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that led. So here we are now, and now you're doing work with women. So tell us a little bit about that. Do you do like one-on-one coaching? Do you do groups? I have to quit, I have to look at my cheat sheet over here. You're teaching women how to magnetize them to come to magnetize and attract partners to them. And through doing that, you're helping them struggle with intimacy, because they do struggle with intimacy.
Right. So, what I say is I help women really claim the queen that they are. If they're looking for a king, they need to be the queen, because if they're not playing, not playing, but if they're not really fully embracing that role, that being, that goddess, that divine that's within them, who are they going to call in?
Right.
And in shadow work, we say we marry our shadows. So whatever's unhealed inside of you, you're going to find in another person, because my belief, how I see it, is the soul wants to heal. And if there's a part of you that's being denied, it's going to find a way to express itself. So what I help, and I do one-on-one work. Yes, I have my private coaching, and I have a 9-month, what's called Midlife Love Mastery program. And what I do with women is I help them see their shadows. I help them find the confidence, the clarity. I help them kick their inner critic to the curb and discover that true voice inside of them that says, you know what? I am worthy of amazing love, amazing orgasms, amazing intimacy, amazing connection, and I will not settle for less. And in a way that's not in this rawr place again, because that's what happens when we deny, when we push down who we are. It's an empowered, beautiful place. And so helping women really see not only what they want and what I believe is their right to have, I help them embody it so they don't let go of their dreams. And then because they've claimed that, they find themselves seeing men differently or partners differently, because I don't know who's here, but seeing people differently, and people will see them differently because they are magnetizing, they are sending out radar with a brighter light than they've ever had before. So that's what I help women do. That's
beautiful. It's really, really beautiful. And are you familiar with the work of Alison Armstrong?
I'm almost embarrassed to say no, but I'm going to be really, I do my best to be transparent. I can't tell you how many people say, you need to look at her. And I write it down. I don't know what the friggin' block is. I'm like, oh, let me look at Brene Brown. And, and then I'm like, Alison Armstrong. I can't tell you how many people have no, the answer is no, I have not.
Okay.
Maybe a wake up call right now.
This is what I want to tell you about her. And you can go to my, you can go to Web Talk Radio, my station, and you can look back at my shows, because she's on my show. She was on my show about a year ago, and maybe a little more. And I'm just going to say, because you reminded me of something that she said, and so I'm going to tell you. She has her website is understandmen.com, and she started trying to understand men because she hated men. And then she got really into understanding men, and then now she loves men. And what she says is, the reason women are so discontent in their relationships with men is because they take what could be kings and they make them into frogs. They train them into being frogs because they think they're frogs. So what you just said is, if I'm, you said the counter. Like if I act like I'm a queen, then I magnetize the king to me. And if he doesn't feel like he's a king yet, he starts to get a sense of being a king in my presence rather than being a frog.
You got it. You got it. In fact, I've used that analogy where it's like, are you sick of kissing so many frogs? It's time to change that. And that's us playing small. That's us sometimes thinking we don't deserve the king. Who is going to really love us? I mean, all that friggin' crazy stuff that's in our head. Yeah. So it's
really
time to claim the queen.
Yeah. You really love me. I'm so worthy of this kind of love. Yeah. You know, my partner says to me, Michael says, you have unlimited requests. And I say, you mean I don't only get like 5 a day? He said, no, he said, as long as you don't complain, he hates complaints. As long as you don't complain and he learned this from Alison Armstrong, as long as you just make requests, you can make hundreds of requests. I will do them all. I'm happy to do them. Whatever you want, I will do them. And I say, I always feel like I have a quota. Even though I'm like way beyond that in a certain way, like I feel like if I ask too much, so I get it. I really get it. If I'm saying I get it to you, and I I have this like super life. I have a life I love. I have a partner I adore, and still, these little creep messages come up. No, you only have you asked already 5 things today. I don't know that you could ask another one.
How dare you? Who do you think you are?
Exactly.
Yep. And I see that a lot in my clients.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I have it too. I just did a Facebook Live today. I do some lives in my group. I have a Find Fabulous Love After 40 group. And so I go live Transformation Tuesdays. And I was talking about, I use the metaphor of a virus because, hey, we're all kind of up on that right now. And I said, we all have been infected with not good enough itis. And there ain't no cure, but there are ways to manage it. And so I've been infected with it. And sometimes I drop into the, ooh, did I push the boundary? Was I too much? Should I be at, and I spot it as fast as I can. I spot it, give myself a healthy dose of, I am the queen. And it's okay to get my needs met. In fact, I deserve to get my needs met and to have good communication with my partner. Because it's not like, well, I am the queen and you do what I say. It's a healthy partnership of, hey, hon, my neck is bothering me. Would you mind? could you give me a little squeeze? And then he needs to be the king to go, absolutely, hon. Or, you know what, sweetheart, right now I'm doing this. I'm like, let's stand in our power and meet each other. Because that's when we have true connection and intimacy beyond our wildest dreams.
Exactly. It's so good. And everybody has it. Everybody has it, and it creeps in there.
It does.
Just when they least expect it.
Yeah, I call it the creepy crawlies. It's like, I'm having a great day. It's like, where did that come from? What happened?
So tell me some success stories. You could tell me how some people have come to you, they crawled in, and how some people, left standing up straight. Can you do that?
Sure. Absolutely. There are 2 that come to mind. One in particular, she was in my Love Mastery program, and she came to me. I had known her actually for a few years. Beautiful, inside out, successful. I mean, really, anyone would want to be her. And she never had a successful relationship. She was always sabotaging in lots of different ways. Let's just call her Jane to keep her, anonymity.
Sure. Yeah, I don't want you to tell me.
Yeah. And
plus I might know her. Who knows?
Yeah, and I have full permission. And Neil's to say, let's call her Jane. And she would cheat on these guys. She would call on these guys that just weren't meeting her needs. Either they were broken and she tried to fix them, and that was exhausting, or she was always chasing them. It whatever it was, it never worked out. And then she ended up cheating on them and feeling horrible, beating herself up and then ending it. And so she came to me and she's just like, and she's in her early 50s. She's like, I want something different. And so we did some work within a couple of months of the mastery program. She did a special process and she had this huge aha. Now, one might say, really, that wasn't such a huge aha. We all have these things when we were kids, but it was such a reframe. She saw in her parents a very specific dynamic that had her seeing relationships cause pain, relationships hurt. And we started to work on that and she shifted because that was what she was embodying. There was a part of her that wanted to push it away. And what was wild was she went to a party soon after, saw somebody that she had known for years, some man, and was never interested in him, or at least she didn't see him in that way. But she had new glasses on. Right. She had shifted. So suddenly it was like, game on. And guess what? He saw her differently and game on. Suffice it to say, she's got a ring on her finger and they've been together over a year. So that's it. It's those moments of, oh my God, I didn't see that. That's what's happening. And that's the first step, because a lot of personal growth ends there. Seeing it and understanding it, first step. And then you go in and we do these processes to take back our power, take back our worthiness, take back those healthy boundaries, and to send a very different message to that little girl inside of us. Because we might be queens, but we've got that little girl inside of us that wants to be loved and cherished too, and give her a new message so that we really can be fully integrated and go out there and call in a very different type of relationship. So that's one of my favorite stories.
Yeah, that's great. And then you had another one?
Yeah, there was another woman also in my mastery program, and she hadn't dated in years and had a huge breakup and was ready to get back out there, but she was just bumping up against the fear of putting herself out there. And I do work with people in relationships. Right now, I'm honing in on more of the single women right now with my program. And so she did one session with me. She was in my program, but they also get one-on-one coaching in my program. So she was in this one session and we were doing a special process, and she literally lost her breath when she saw that this memory of her father telling her something very specific about boys and what he thought of her if she went out with boys. And it was just this huge shift. And suddenly she stopped. She went, is this why I am afraid of men? And is this why I keep creating these patterns over and over that, continually don't work? And I feel like shit. And is this why I'm not going back out there? And I looked at her and I'm like, I can't say for sure, but I would bet a lot of money, because when we're kids, we'll do anything for our parents. And if we get a message that you're going to be a slut if you do X, Y, and Z, and you think your father is going to think poorly of you, that goes in. That
Deep.
Goes in.
Very, very deep.
And so that was deep in her, and it was mind-blowing. And long story short, things completely changed for her soon out the gate. Started dating, met somebody, and she's just having a blast.
That's
and
great.
She's not playing small anymore, and she doesn't have that fear that she had before. It's rewiring. It's rewiring.
Beautiful. I love it. Thank you for those examples. They're really great.
You're so
I immediately
welcome.
thought of somebody I know who I have to introduce to you.
I call it an update. It's like, we're in midlife, it takes a good 30, 40 years for us to realize certain things aren't going to work. And we go, okay, do I really want to keep doing this? I mean, that's what happened in my marriage. I'm like, do I really want to keep playing this role? It's not working. He's not buying a ticket for this next chapter the way I want it. And so, we need to update the software because it's old and it's crusty and it hurts. We need to rewire so that we can really show up and really love the life that we have, with or without a partner.
And the old stuff doesn't give us enough choice. And the new wiring gives us so much choice in the matter, like, how do I want it? And what do I want to say now? And how do I want to be? And how do I want my life to show up? It's really, really different. It's beautiful, really beautiful work.
Oh, thank you.
So, so it's great. So here's what I'm not sure if there's something I'm supposed to be asking you. You know why? Because I don't want to read my cheat sheets, but let's see. It used to be when people couldn't see me, I could do anything, you know, like my nose if I wanted to.
We
But
see you and we love you and
let's
you're
see.
human.
Oh yeah, shedding the shame. So
Mm.
I didn't want to forget to ask you about this. So in the area of shedding shame, you did something.
Oh, my documentary?
Yeah, you posed naked. I think that's how I first heard about you. So tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about your documentary and what it did for you, and
Hmm.
now how you work with women and shame.
Absolutely. I will say, of all the things I've done, it's the thing I'm most proud of, uh, on so many levels. Uh, I have a show similar to yours, and I had the opportunity to bring on a well-known body painter on my show. And I said, "Oh, maybe you can paint me live." And he said, "Sure." And in that moment, I thought, "Oh my God, he paints naked people." And my whole life, I felt so horrible about my body. And I wouldn't go to pool parties. I would do anything I could possibly do to get out of pool parties. Sometimes couldn't even leave my house because I had so much body shame. And of course, when it comes to intimacy, if you're not comfortable in your skin, you can imagine. And so
Sure.
when I said yes to getting body painted, I realized something huge had changed. And this was, again, shadow work. I had shifted and grown and healed on such a deep level. The shame, in fact, that's what we talk about in shadow work. We are releasing the shame and getting more choice, as you said. And so I was like, you know what? This is a message that I want to share. And so I hired a videographer and I created a documentary, a 9-minute documentary called Shed the Shame. We can maybe give people a link. I don't know it right away. It's on my website, actually. So you could just go to
But
coachjuniemoon.com.
you can get it to me.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
it's on YouTube. It's just, if you punch in Junie Moon naked, you probably will find it. But I have so many videos. Long story short, I got naked and body painted in this film. And I talk about body image and body shame and what I went through and what our culture has gone through, what the women go through, have gone through, still go through. And I share my journey and my healing and what's possible. And you see everything. And I did it with such joy. It's gone on to tens of thousands of people to view. It's been in film festivals, and it actually is what instigated my book, because people would come up to me on the street and say, "You're Junie, right?" And they would, in tears, say, "Thank you." I'm getting goosebumps because it just moved me so much. Thank you for sharing my story. I feel less alone because there's so many women that feel so horrible about how they look.
Yeah.
And feel so alone in it. And so I knew I had to write the book because the film was my story, and I shared the journey and shared that things can change, but I didn't really share the how. And so I wrote the book with some of the tools and went deeper into my journey and my story so I can help more people. And
Beautiful.
that's what I do. I take, whether across the board, it's shame. Whether it's your body, whether it's your, whatever it is, there's a part of us that feels like something's wrong with us.
Yes.
And so whether you're looking for love, or you want to move up in your career, or you want to just change something in your life, and you're bumping up against that fear of inadequacy or shame, this work takes the shame off. It helps you just come home to the truth of who you are. And I believe this work is what's called transformation that sticks. It's different and it works. And that's how I help people heal their shame, body shame,
Lovely.
whatever it is. Shame.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I just want to share that I did something similar when I was invited to be a centerfold of a women's magazine called Sentient. And
Ooh.
it was a play off on like Playboy Centerfold. And the editor who asked me to do it, I said, "Oh yeah, I'll do that." And she said, so she was interviewing me. I had to fill out this thing, to say who I was. And I was 68 at the time. And she said, "What?" And I
I was
said,
just
"Yeah,
gonna say what too. I'm looking at you like at the time.
I'm 72 now."
Oh my goodness. Wow. Wow.
So I was 68. It was 4 years ago, and I went to Manhattan, and yeah, I did a whole photo shoot and
That's
naked
awesome.
and some semi-clothed and whatever in my friend's house in Harlem. And then they put me in this centerfold, and like that's one of my favorite things that I ever did. And
Yeah.
by this time I didn't really have shame, but I did it so that older women would get that, like, they're viable, they're valuable,
Yeah.
they're important.
Yeah.
Our bodies are not all of who we are. There's our mind and our spirit as well, and our
Mhm.
feelings, our emotional body. But this is who we are, and this we're brought up to be this.
Yeah.
Like we have to have the look and the this and the that, and we don't have to lose it, and we also don't have to be ashamed of whatever age it is and whatever anything it is. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even what we just did or what I just did, I was like, oh my God, you just said, you know, the 68 and you're like, and I'm like, oh my God. And like even that there's, we're looking at each other and I'm thinking, wow, I hope
there's
I
an
look like that,
expectation.
as if it won't be okay if I don't. It's just, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah,
And there's healing to be had, and we're doing it, with your
I love to tell
show, with
people
my
that.
show,
I love to tell people that.
beautiful.
I lead workshops. I'm the oldest member of an international faculty, and in the workshop, the very first night, someone has to get naked and do a demo, and then everybody has a chance to, like,
Mm,
because everyone gets to the workshop and they're all wondering, when am I going to have to take my clothes off? And so I love to be the one that does it.
mhm.
And then I say how old I am, and then they go,
Yeah.
and then I
Yeah.
go, yeah, you if you take care of yourself, you'll feel okay even now. Like you have a
Yeah.
chance of
Yeah.
feeling all right about yourself.
Yeah. And I love that,
So,
you go first and you give permission. And that's kind of what I feel that my message was in that film, is giving permission, to realize that we've been fed a bunch of lies about what beauty looks like, and
right.
that healing is possible. And I have a lot of clients and people that come up to me that want to work with me, and they say, there's no way I'm getting naked. There's no way I'm doing it. And I'm like, it was a metaphor. And if you want to do it, that's great. And it's about letting go of what hurts, letting go of those
Right.
creepy crawlies. So whether you want to get naked or don't, it's okay. But may you feel beautiful
No
and
matter what.
empowered always.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about how people get in touch with you, what's coming up, and you have some kind of a free gift.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I want to give people all those messages, and of course, we'll also put that in writing, but
Sure.
that'll go into a chat, and that'll go onto the station website and everything. But
Beautiful.
if people want to work with you, how do they find you?
Well, you can go to my website, which is probably the easiest way, which is Coach Junie Moon, JUNIE Moon.com. And you can find a lot there, including the videos and articles and a lot of information. So CoachJunieMoon.com, that's a great place to find me. I'm
Good.
also on Facebook. I have a wonderful Facebook group that's growing, and it's a beautiful sisterhood called Find Fabulous Love After 40. And I do live trainings every week. So that's another opportunity to learn and grow and connect with me. And I do have a free gift, and I wrote this, I don't even know how many years ago. And every time I revisit it, I'm like, I'm so happy about it, because
Good.
it is a guidebook. It's a guidebook on how to tame your inner critic. And it's 10 easy steps to unleash what I call your soul purpose. It helps you shed that shame, and I guide you every step of the way, so that you really can lower the volume of that inner critic, lower the volume of that part that has you feeling inadequate or has you doing behaviors that just suck. So you can find that at coachjuniemoon.com/inner critic gift. And that's where
Okay,
you can
that's
find that.
wonderful. So you hear that, everybody? Coach JunieMoon.com/inner critic
Gift.
gift.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
I wanted to tell you two things. In college, my nickname was Moon. So if I had your name, I would be Moon Moon.
Oh,
Just,
that's hysterical. Oh, wow. That's
yeah,
so
Moon was my
wild.
nickname. Someone thought I had a round face like the moon. I don't, but whatever.
So
So
we're moon sisters.
I got called Moon a lot. That was one
Wow,
thing.
that's
And
cool.
I don't know, there was something else, like two things just like went boom for me. It went in the last piece you were saying. Anyway, I wish you the absolute best.
Thank
I'm
you.
thrilled that you did your video. I'm thrilled that you wrote your books. I'm
Thank
thrilled
you.
that you found shadow work and you got free.
Thank you.
You
I am
know,
too. My life is so different. And, you know, the biggest blessing, aside from everything I've shared so far, truly the biggest blessing is the relationship I have with my mother. I hated her. I couldn't be in the same room with her. And she's my best friend now. And that could not have happened without shadow work. I had to let go of a lot, and she came for the ride. And I'm just so grateful. So
that-
many, and we all can have it. This is not just
I
because
thought of
it's
the,
me.
I thought of the thing. I met Michael when I was 68. And so I always tell people that because I don't want anyone to give up. I don't
Mm.
want them to think that a number gets in the way of finding true love. Like I found true, exquisite, extraordinary love at 68.
I'm so
And
glad you said that, because I see it all the time, you know, with my clients and other people that are in my tribe sharing stories in their 70s and even in their 80s. I know somebody, you know, she wasn't a client, but needless to say, someone in their 80s found true love. So especially when you really let go of the crap that gets in your way and you can really tap into what you want and come from that place, it's there for us.
and
It's there for
miracles
us.
happen.
And
And
it's happening.
I recently told my marketing guy that I have a Cinderella life. I said,
Aw,
Walt Disney didn't have anything to do with it. I had everything to do with it.
yeah.
So thank you, Junie Moon. Thank you for being my guest. It's
Oh.
been a long time coming. We've been trying to connect for a long time, and this has been a fortuitous occasion. I'm
So
really,
happy
really
to
happy.
connect with you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share what I think is some of the most powerful tools on the planet, and
you're welcome.
deeply grateful for this
You're
opportunity. Thank you.
welcome. We need you. Now, everybody else, I want you to tune in next time when I will have another amazing guest, and that will be my colleague Elaine Young from the UK, although she's Scottish. So, good luck on understanding her because sometimes I don't. But she's coming on and she's going to be talking about a course she teaches called Mastery of Pleasure, and it's going to be, it's going to follow suit with what we're talking about today. It's going to be a lot about shame and how we don't allow pleasure, or we just say, okay, that's enough. And so Elaine's
Right.
going to be speaking about letting in more pleasure to our lives.
Mm.
So tune in to Sex and Happiness next time when I will have guest Elaine Young. And this is Laurie Handlers signing off for Sex and Happiness this time. Thank you all for being my listeners and my viewers, and thank you, Junie Moon.
Thank you.